Hey guys, how's it going? Germany, Canada. A lot of the theme in the comments seems to be, I haven't seen this game. Neither have I. I've never seen this game. Where is everybody coming in from? We got Darmundi, Skywalker, Resavs, Bradley, Noah, how's it going? Alaran's here. Jonathan's here. Varun's here. Liam's here. Back in Germany for family loyalty. The German kit, if you haven't seen it, I don't have it. It's pretty nice. If you want a team to make the World Cup just for their kit, that could be the one. Contenders coming in from Africa. That's good. Jamil from Germany. Nice. Rob's in the UK. Kia ora, mate. How's it going? Never seen Germany play rugby in my life, so this is going to be a bit of a fascinating one for me. Links in the description if you guys want to get the game loaded up. If you don't usually join the streams, that's kind of how we do it. So, yeah, get things ready. We'll get underway in just a tick. Kickoff at 10:19 on the YouTube clock. That's probably a good tip. I think we will probably skip at least until the teams are out there ready to do the anthems. Maybe about 6.5 minutes, I think. About time something different. Yeah. That's why I did the poll for this one. It was like sevens, women's kind of teams that we don't usually see. Germany, Canada, ones we don't get to see very much. What was the other option? Under 20s. So this one was the winner. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Something a bit different indeed. First time watching Germany, you and me both, mate. Reaction to Carter signing for the Blues. I did a video on Patreon for that where I basically kind of just said, like, man, that's amazing. He's pretty old, but it's Dan Carter. We're stacked for 10s. But, man, who's going to say no to Dan Carter? He's probably going to be a bit of a coach, bit of a mentor. Pretty chuffed to have him, man. Definitely very good PR for the Blues. Definitely. I think I've seen Germany at the World Rugby show a couple of years ago. Okay. I may have seen highlights, man, but I've definitely never watched Germany for a full game. I don't think I know a single German player, so this is going to be a bit of an education for me. Chris, how's it going? Skywalker says yes, go the Blues. Yeah, man. Dan Carter, what can we say? Never thought it would happen. His grandmother didn't want it to happen, but he's on board with the Blues boys. All right, what do you say we get things underway? The link is in the description. I'm going to skip to 6 minutes and 30 seconds as much as I can. I'm at 6 minutes and 24 seconds anyway, so close enough. So we'll start with the anthems. There's a bit of fluff at the start, which we'll skip through. So 6 minutes and approximately 30 seconds. I'm on 6:24, and we'll kick off in just a second. Old man Carter is back. You know it, man. He's back for the Blues. He looks in pretty good shape. Will Wales ever win a World Cup? Surely it'll happen one of these days. All right, guys, let's get underway. I'm on 6 minutes and 24 seconds. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Canada against Germany. Starting with Canada. I think this match is being played in France, from what I read on the description. I'm just here to see Tyler Ardron rip stuff up. Yeah, to be fair, I think before the Rugby World Cup, he was probably one of the only Canadian guys I know, and Van der Merwe there, but I think I at least got to know a couple more since the World Cup, which was nice. What's the booze? Dank memes, greetings from Germany. Greetings. Well, I went to the supermarket yesterday and I thought, seeing as we're going to see Germany play, because I went last night after I'd pretty much seen this game was the sure thing on the poll, I thought I'll get German beer. Like, German beer surely has to be the easiest beer to find, right? I could only find one. I think there might have been one other one that was like a 6-pack, which I didn't want. Single cans. I've never heard of this. Never heard of this beer before. What is this? Apparently it's German. What is this? Ruben says, hope this covers a beer. I think this was like, was it $4 or $3 New Zealand? I don't know, man. I've never tried or heard of this beer. It's 5% alcohol. It says it's from Germany. So go figure, man. We'll see. It's cold and it's beer, but cheers, Ruben. I will pour this into my specially brought along World Cup glass. We're just doing German national anthem at the minute. 8 minutes and 30 seconds on the YouTube clock. Henry says, I have the 2015 Canada rugby jersey. It's so nice and looks real good. The Canada jersey is pretty slick. There's something about red, which generally goes pretty well. All right, we're cracking open the beer. Cheers, Ruben, man. Thank you for that. It's much appreciated. We'll see what this beer tastes like, man. Not that I'm an expert in beer drinking, but honestly say I've never heard of it. All right, looks like anthems are done. We're about to get underway. Morning, Christo from South Africa. How's it going? Fleshing. Anthems are done. 9 minutes and 20 seconds I am on the YouTube clock. Lucas Rumble's playing at 7. Ardron's at 8. Vandermerve's on the left wing. Phil Mack. Is it Phil? I think it's Phil. He's captain at 9. That is the Canadian lineup. The German lineup is one that I surely do not know. Popmeyer. Don't know him. Kutsia, is he South African on the right wing? Parkinson at 10. Armstrong at 9. This is going to be an education for me, fellas. Awful anthem. Anyway, cheers, guys. Luke Pierce is the ref. Crusaders, champion team, not a team of champions. Blues will not make history. Come on, man. Go the Blues. We've just kicked off. Match is underway. YouTube clock's at 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Canada against Germany. This is somehow, honestly, pretty refreshing. I might just turn that down a touch so you guys aren't listening to my feed. Female touch judge. I didn't notice. I can honestly say I didn't notice. One of them looks like he just left school, one with curly hair on the German side. It may well have done. Baby-faced assassin. Good lineup from the Germans early. Such a slick kit, man. Look at that uniform. Gold numbers, black jerseys. It's pretty nice. Bit of slow ball for the Germans. What's the score so far? It is 0-0. The game clock is at 1 minute and 20 seconds. The Germans have gone 6 phases. They are in the Canadian half and have just decided to put a kick through. The Canadians, no problems kicking that one back. Already a club rugby feel. That's something not too bad, eh? It's a bit refreshing. It's a bit funny, though, because this is a stream. We are watching this stream. I've full screened the game. I've turned off the chat replay, by the way. I'm not watching that. Oof. That number 8 was surely in touch there for Germany, but anyway. Hello, mate. Haven't watched the stream in a while. How's it going, Charlie? Canada against Germany is a bit of a different one for a stream. But I think apart from one, like a women's World Cup final, it's mostly been big teams, big games, semi-finals, finals, Lion series, all that kind of stuff. So it's something a bit different to watch, two teams from outside the top 10 go at it, trying to get to a World Cup. Canada is looking, it's early days, but they're looking the better of the two teams so far. Their 6 phases have been a bit better than the Germans' 6 phases. It's bloody good being a Blues fan for once. We're always not too bad at the off-the-field stuff. We're good at signing players. We've signed Sonny Bill. Remember we signed Benji Marshall years ago? Not that that was a good idea, but still. It's just the on-the-field stuff we sometimes have trouble with, but surely Dan Carter can't be a bad move, even if he is 38. Canada's gone 12 phases. They're flirting with the touchline. And they are out. It's almost 4 minutes on the game clock, 0-all. Bit of handbags. Van der Merwe is laughing it up. Sitting on a chair, I know. The floor was really starting to do my back in, mate. I'm getting old. So I decided to move a little bit of furniture around and sit on a chair. I know, it's... the floor thing was probably a bit of a throwback to my original YouTube videos, which I used to sit on the floor. So, yeah, it's never been that flash on 2 Cents Rugby, mate. Oh, here go the Canadians. Ardron. He is one of the names that we probably all know. What an offload. That was magic. Who was that? Lucas Rumble before he had a huge header here. Oh, they're close. They're like a meter away. Oh, but they've been turned over. Brutal. The Germans have gotten out of jail again. And that is a small in goal, isn't it? What about the couch? That couch is not going to be any better for my back, man. It's really uncomfortable. Sitting for 2 hours on that thing. No. Great pass. You're right, man. It was a thing of beauty. A pity they couldn't capitalize, but we're 6 minutes gone, and the Canadians are still down the road into the field. Good defense, Germany. Yeah, man. They got out of jail. They're holding on. Going for a droppy. What the heck? That probably wasn't the move, I think. Just go through the phases, man. You're in there 22 almost. Did you play much rugby as a kid? If so, what position? Nah, man. When I was a kid, I was a beanpole. Far too skinny to play rugby at any serious level. We played at lunchtime. We played sometimes in PE. We played a game called Bull Rush, which you may or may not have in other countries, which can get pretty physical. And I wasn't too bad at that. But when the first 15 boys played with us, yeah, they made us look pretty silly, put it that way. Oh, man, the Germans have turned them over again. German winger has pace. Do you think Carter will start for the Blues? Barrett at 15, Carter at 12, Black at 10, maybe? I mean, I don't know how much you're reading to the press conferences, but it seems like Leon McDonald may kind of ease Dan into it. Even though he looks to be in pretty good shape, he seems to think he may not be available first couple of weeks. But, I mean, if he wanted to take the pressure off Bowden, because, like, New Zealand media, New Zealand rugby fans have looked at, like, Bowden's first game for the Blues being, like, a big event, especially it's going to be against the Hurricanes. If he was to play Carter in that game, at least he kind of splits the expectations between both of the guys instead of lumping it all on one guy. Man, they just let that ball bounce. Didn't pay for it, though. 8 minutes and 40 seconds gone. 0-0. I ain't respecting DC's my favorite player, but kind of pointless having him in the squad. Yeah, I think they initially wanted to have him as a goal-kicking coach, and then Perofeta got injured, so they said, why not come as kind of a player as well? So I think he's partially there as a mentor and maybe to kind of fill a bit. But we've got Plummer, we've got Barrett, we've got Black, so we're not exactly lacking for depth in that one position. It'd be nice for us to get like a proper 9 or a proper hooker or something. But man, it's Dan Carter, so I'm not complaining. Not one iota. Canada surely have to make this pressure pay at some point. They are in the 22 again, 9 phases. How long are the Germans going to hold them out? Oh, Shepherd just needed to either go to ground or pass that ball earlier. And they've knocked it on. Goodness gracious. Do you like rugby league? I don't watch it much. I mean, I know rugby league's got some pretty big hits. I used to like it as a, I know, like 12-year-old maybe 10, 12. I was quite into it. I used to go to Warriors games with my old man. But partly I probably don't understand it, and I've talked about this before, but I can never tell what like the difference is between the teams and the way they play. It always just seems to be like you run up 5 tackles and then kick. Like there doesn't seem to be the same difference in terms of like you can have a Georgia who's got a huge scrum and kick goals, and you know you got a Fiji who offload like mad and virtually never kick it. You know what I mean? I can't tell the difference between the league teams. They all seem much the same to me. But then again, I hardly watch the game, so I would be nobody to comment about it. I'm sure there are kind of intricacies about the different teams, but yeah, man, I just don't see it. It gets a bit samey for me. But it does have big tackles. It's still got 6 skills. Like rugby union's adopted a lot of stuff from league. The defensive patterns get pretty good. The way the wingers score tries, I think, is something union wingers have picked up over the years. Yeah, so still respect the game a lot. I just don't get it that much. Also, a little difference between positions. Yeah, you're right, man. Like in rugby union, you look at a lock and you go, he's a lock. You look at a prop and go, he's a prop. In rugby league, I look at a guy and go, like maybe dummy half, I can tell. But for most of the guys, I can't really tell the difference. Oh, Canada have won a penalty. League is the same play for 80 minutes. That's what it feels like to me, man. But again, I'm totally uneducated on league, so yeah. I liked it as a teenager, or as like not a teenager, but maybe like I said, 10, 12, because it was like really easy to understand. I couldn't really get my head around rugby much at that age. I think it was a bit too complex. I couldn't understand all the kicking. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Whereas league, I kind of understood. The Canadian number 9, Mac, is a bit chunky. He's pretty. I mean, not. He's getting on. He'd be DC's age, I think, in this game, surely. He's been playing for a while. He's kind of a player coach as well. I think he coaches in the MLR. "13 minutes gone. First points of the game. Canada scrum penalty. They kick it. It's 3 points to 0. YouTube time. I've got it on 24 minutes, pretty much on the dot. League players too tend to look the same, whereas with union players, you can generally tell who's a prop, scrum half, who's a lock. Yeah, I think so. But again, I'm just saying that as someone who mostly watches union. Rugby involves more tactics. League is just pass and run. I feel that way, that rugby is a bit of a deeper game, but I also get why league has the appeal because it's got a lower kind of entry barrier, eh? It'd be easier to explain. It's funny because one of the few rules that they're actually looking at to try and get into union is something like the 40-20. And that's one of those rules when I'm watching league and I just go, what the hell just happened? I didn't really understand what a 40-20 was anytime I would see it. Something about kicking the ball from one of your areas to their areas with nobody touching it, and then you get the ball back. Like that one's kind of a bit of an abstract, complex one, right? That's not one that you would just understand from just watching the game. Like 5 tackles, it's kind of pretty straightforward. But yeah, the 40-21 is a bit less so. The rules of league were literally changed from union to make it more spectator friendly. Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense, and it probably worked. And to be fair, in rugby, some areas they've made it more complex. You know what I mean? Like lineouts never used to be as complex as they are now. Canada, you feel they're in the ascendancy, but they haven't quite been able to execute. Most of this game, I don't know what the territory stats are like, but it must be 60 plus for Canada. Oh, and the Germans that just kicked it out on the full. Horrendous. It's a much simpler game. You're very right about some of people not understanding the field positions and tactics in union. Yeah, I think so. Even I don't understand the tactics that some of the coaches have got going on sometimes, you know? Poor loose line-out ball, but Canada have got it back. Argentina, we do not watch or care for league. No clue what 2040 means. I think it's 4020, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it's interesting that Union is by far the more global game. Although they've kind of recently converted Tonga into more of a league country now. I would say that Tonga is more big on league than Union, whereas traditionally it would have been the other way around. That's probably partially to do with World Rugby neglecting the Pacific Islands a bit, and Rugby League really put Tonga in the spotlight. That and the fact that a bunch of, I think, New Zealand Tongans were able to switch countries. I think in League it's a bit easier to switch. So some really big name players play for the Tongan team now instead of the New Zealand team. Ten phases for the Canadians. They've got to score here, surely. They're like a meter out from the German line. 11 phases. The Germans aren't giving up, though. The Canadians are passing to like one-off runners with no support. The Germans are just mopping them up for the minute. They finally make a pod, but it gets nowhere. Not quite turned over. Loose ball. Jeez. They're making this look hard. Here we go. Slow ball, but they're setting some kind of... Well, it's a pod. Not turned over. Oh. Germany give away a penalty at the breakdown. The reason why some people refer to league as dumb man's rugby. That's a bit harsh. I think in New Zealand, league is definitely more of a working class game. But then rugby union's still more of like an everyman game here than like soccer or cricket, which are more like a bit poncy, I think. Whereas I know in a lot of places like rugby union's the private school game. NRL's presence in the Pacific Islands is massive. I wish AAU switched on. Sure enough. Tim Robinson, Mark, stop ignoring me. Oh, man, bro, sorry. 19 minutes on the game clock exactly, which puts it on YouTube clock 30 minutes and 10 seconds. Bro, not ignoring you. Those are your bath flags. I put them out special. I haven't seen this game before, so I've been a bit kind of glued to it. What's Ponzi? A bit la-di-da, a bit wow, bro, someone help me translate. Ponzi. How do you rate these teams' jerseys? You're liking the German one, bro. The German one is slick. Slick. I wish they had this team in Rugby 20. Yeah. The German one looks really good. Interesting DHLs on both teams. Blends in a bit better with the German one, you'd have to say. Like Fancy Rich. There you go. You got it. German scrum is struggling. That tends to be the way, eh? When there's a bit of a gap between the teams, the scrum is always one of the ways you can tell. Penalty count's getting pretty high. And there's some handbags between Mac and one of the Germans. All the forwards step in to sort that out. Started by a halfback, of course. Oh, they're still going. That German guy with that haircut. Goodness gracious me. Is this the Marseille Repechage? Yes. Yes, it is. Germans need to import some Namibian trainers and the Dutch Afrikaners to improve their rugby. I think I did see a couple of like either Namibian or like South African, Afrikaner looking names. Anyway, there's definitely a Kutsia on the German team. It was both halfbacks getting at it there. Loving the flags. Good man. I'm sitting on a chair today, bro. That's class. Which nation that hasn't won the World Cup is going to be the next one to win the World Cup? France. France. Always a bridesmaid. Hosting the next one. Young and talented team. Surely next time it's theirs. If there's a chance to do it, that has to be it. The problem with winning a World Cup is you've generally got to put a series of good performances together, which is the one thing the French seem to struggle with. Watching some of those old campaigns, they've been able to put in like a blistering semi-final, and then in the final, they've just been off the pace. Strange that Tonga still have a decent rugby union team and they still got to the World Cup. Shows the talent they have. Absolutely. Although from memory, when I did that foreign players video, a lot of those guys are from New Zealand originally. Like either Tongan parents or grandparents or something like that. But I think part of that, somebody explained it to me that, here's a try. There you go. That was coming for bloody ages. 22 minutes and about 10 seconds we are on the game clock. That was long overdue. The Canadians have finally converted. It wasn't Rumble that got it, was it? Oh, wow. Well, looks like it was. It was Lucas Rumble. Good man. It seems like there's not a whole lot of rugby clubs in Tonga compared to like Fiji. Tonga has way fewer rugby clubs. I don't know what the population difference is between the two countries, but Fiji has a ton of rugby clubs, like domestically. France are really good at throwing away nations, throwing away competitions. Hope the Germans get over the halfway line at some point. Yeah. I hope they put the territory stats on the screen, although I can't imagine this game was given the full stats treatment. Solid kick. It's 10-0. 10-0. I hope France win it at home, although they need to win 3 matches in a row. Yeah, bro, that's the difficulty. 3 matches in a row is tough. $10-0, 24 minutes on the game clock. YouTube clock's 36. So there you go. No points for the Germans thus far. They started off, tackle them in the air. Come on, man. They started off with a slight hiss and a roar, but it's all gone downhill from there for the Germans. Fiji, 900,000 people. Tonga, 100,000. Are you serious? There's only 100,000 people in Tonga. For real? When did you get the Bath flags? Our man Tim, who's in the chat, sent them to me, must be 6 months, 5 months, 4 months ago. A wee while ago. Him and his son sent them to me. There's like 6 of them there. Oh, look at the German guy. did a little step shimmy. I need to learn some of their names. Otherwise, it's just 15, the German guys. Not a good look. Have I got some ball for a change? It's good. There's 100,000 Tongans in Auckland, says Alaran. Yeah, we've got a pretty big Pacific population here, man. I would say there's more Tongans and Samoans here than there would be Fijians. Just, I don't have any data to back that up, but just based on my own gut feeling. More Tongans in New Zealand than Tonga, for real. Who's the 5 for Canada? He's got a great Lions, mate. Is that Olmsted? If that's Olmsted, he's the guy who played for Auckland in the Mitre 10, but I could be mistaken. Bath have signed Ben Spencer. Are you kidding me? I know a bunch of this. Oh, territory there. Position 74-26. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty telling. I know some of the Saracens guys have gone on loan. Like Ezekwe has gone on loan. Jamie George, I think, is sticking around. Toje is sticking around. Cruz has gone to Japan. All right. Spencer's really signed for Bath. On a loan or permanently? Germans standing too deep. The Canadians are just rushing them. Yeah, that's often a thing with teams that don't get that much exposure as well. They like to stand pretty deep. Makes it harder for them to go forward. But they've just gone into the Canadian half for the first time in a while. Around where I live, it's all Tongans. Yeah, I went to high school in Onehunga, and yeah, a lot of Tongans and Samoans in our school for sure. Canadian defense is looking pretty solid. I can count on 0 hands how many German rugby players I know. Excited to learn. That's you and me both, man. Exact same feeling. Kurt Haupt, the hooker. Haupt. That sounds like a proper German name. Oh, Big Will. Welcome to the Mighty Blues, Dan Carter. I cried tears of happiness when I heard the news. I'll drink to that, man. Thank you, sir. Let us hope he has a good chance at adding a Super Rugby Aotearoa title to his trophy cabinet. He's won pretty much everything else, so nobody's won Super Rugby Aotearoa, so that'd be a nice one for him to get his hands on. But yeah, cheers, man. Appreciate that. Let's hope he has a good run. Injury-free, hopefully. I know one German player, right wing, Kutsia, learned that today. Left wing, not right wing. Yeah, that was the first name I picked up on when I saw their team roster as well. Look for a familiar name. The replacement German hooker is Barber. He's wearing a scrum cap, so we don't know what kind of hairdo he's got going for a guy with the name Barber. Cruden and D-Mac will calm those Blues Jets. Come on, man. Barrett and Carter or D-Mac and Cruds? Oh, it's a tough one. That's a tough one. Cruden at 10, D-Mac at 15, or Carter at 10, Barrett at 15? What do you guys reckon? Oh, here go the Germans with a maul. They are within meters of getting some points after having bugger all possession and territory. This would be brutal if the Canadians conceded points here after having so much dominance to let the Germans back into it. But they're so close. Did he get that down? TMO time. Very close. Firing up the VPN because it seems geo-locked. This game? No way. Depends on prime DC or 38-year-old DC. Come on, man. 38-year-old DC is still prime DC. He doesn't have a not prime age. Look, he's in good shape, man. I think that is a try, isn't it? He's just put it on the line there. Boop. Try time, I reckon. Give it. Watching the league, but thought I would tune in to see how everyone's doing. We're watching Canada, Germany, man. It's been a bit of an interesting one. We've learned that the German hooker's name is Haupt, and the replacement hooker's named Barber. He wears a scrum cap. There's a potential try here to the Germans. That's a try, surely. After having no possession and territory, the Germans are about to get on the board. I think so, if I'm the TMO. Just sent the link on Patreon. It's a 3-year deal. Man, that's good news. I will check that out once we're done here. Very good news. Everyone's having a field day on Saracens players, eh? Yeah, they're going to have another look to make sure he's not part of the ruck. Cruden was excellent at the start of the season. DC ran around with a Zimmer frame in Japan. Come on, Aileron, man. Come on. Yeah, Cruden kicked the drop goal against the Blues. I remember that. I was there at that game. German side aren't too bad. They've not had a bunch of ball, but they've been good enough on D, and the first chance they've got an opportunity, it looks like they're going to convert it. But bloody hell, this TMO's taken forever. Listen to the crowd. Germany was lucky even coming this close to a World Cup. Man, I was honestly rooting for them, like ultimate underdog. The fact that Germany were within that close of getting to a World Cup, for me was mind-blowing because I didn't even know that they were kind of even close to that level. So, yeah. And they've got a slick jersey. What can I say? We are watching from YouTube. Indeed, the link should be in the description of my stream, and the YouTube clock's at 46:25. The game clock, I've got no idea. 29:49. There you go. Man, look at those mountains in the background. That's pretty nice. Bunch of apartments as well. Free view of the game. Try time. Yes, they did give the try. That I think that could have taken about 1/4 of that time to give that try, but they gave it. So the Germans are on the board, and he's kicked the conversion. So despite being under a lot of pressure, the Germans are only 3 points behind. Good stuff. I don't know why it took so long for the TMO. You and me both, brother. That was far, far too long. Germany v Romania could be interesting. Romania is generally pretty good, right? Didn't they get they had an issue with fielding ineligible players, right? Them and Belgium? Spain? Somebody else. But I'm pretty sure one of them was Romania. They're another team that's usually got a bunch of big forwards, eh? Do you like the idea of a shorter rugby championship in Australia? Mate, if they can get any rugby championship tournament going for this year, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Like, I'm amazed that New Zealand's about to get rugby underway here in a week. And it looks to be like we'll even be allowed crowds there if the government gives the okay, because we're 15 days with no new cases here. So yeah, if they can get rugby underway, I'll be pretty happy. I think the Aussies are looking for some sweet coin as well, because the ARU has been in a bit of the old financial trouble. Not that New Zealand's been any better, but yeah, I think they would desperately like to see some money coming in. It was Spain, Romania, and Belgium. Bro, I think I mentioned all those three, didn't I? Jeez, I must have had that knowledge sitting in the back of my head somewhere, but thank you for that, brother. Yeah. Pity for those guys, but it is what it is. That's how Germany managed to get this far. I'll take it. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be watching this game. Remember for them from Rugby 08? Yeah, true enough. That little leaf logo. Germany got relegated to the third tier. Oh. Side note, can my South African brothers and sisters drink any beers? I spoke to G-Man the other day, and I think he said yes on the beers, because I think Nathan was here the other day talking about having a beer, but I don't think they can smoke yet. I think it's just beers, but I could be mistaken. Possession, 69-31. The Germans have had a little bit more ball. Do any of these German guys play professionally? Do you guys know? Like any of them in like the D2 in France or anything like that? Like I know the Canadian guys, a lot of them are either playing in like one's in Super Rugby, a lot of them are in the MLR. Well, the Germans are getting warned for their scrummaging. Too many penalties for the loose head. Tough. Two play in Romania. One plays in the MLR. One or two players in the French D2. Most of them play in German regional leagues. I mean, in that case, they're going up a team which is pretty much all professionals. So I'm assuming those guys all have day jobs, right? This is just a hobby. But thanks for the information, guys. Adam and Dank Memes. For Monday, we're allowed within 3 days of our hospital's trauma units went vacant to overfull. Oh, it's no good. 35 minutes and 50 seconds on the match clock. Canada once again is on the offensive. Their scrum is really just causing all kinds of problems. Big Will. Enjoy the beers, South Africa. I'll drink to that as well. Thank you, sir. Very generous of you. And yes, I hope you South African guys are enjoying the beer after all that time. Like I said, man, here in New Zealand, the beers were an essential product from day one of lockdown. That never stopped. Ooh, wicked bounce. Hasn't found touch. Oh, and he's knocked it on. Is this game actually live? No. This is a replay. This was trying to decide the last spot for the team that would go to the Rugby World Cup in 2019. It was Germany, Canada, Hong Kong. Who was the other team? This is brutal. Who was the other team? Someone will tell me. You like the Canadian 7. Lucas Rumble. He is one of the few guys from Canada that I would recognize on the street. He tackles like a demon, man. I think he could play at a higher level than the MLR, to be honest. Kenya. There you go. I knew there was one more. Kenya, I've only really seen play 7s. I don't think I've seen them play 15, so that'd be another good one to watch. Likewise, Hong Kong. I haven't seen them play. You like the German jersey. Everybody does, man. Being a Springbok fan, when Germany tried to play out their own half, I keep saying kick it. Yeah. Trouble is they keep giving the ball back to the Canadians, and look at that little German contingent of fans. They're setting another scrum. I'm at 37 minutes and 50 seconds. This could be trouble for the German loosehead if he collapses here. He's lost his bind. They're going to reset it. Germany beat Kenya and Hong Kong. Yes, I remember that being a thing in the news, that Germany at least had one win, maybe even two. I can't remember, but they were like, man, Germany could actually make the World Cup. And it was like, what? Germany? My high school PE teacher plays for the Hong Kong men's 15. No way. I take it he's amateur, semi-pro? PE teacher, amateur. The scrum needs to hold up. Get that bloody ball out. Goodness. Come on, man. Get it out. Far out. Somehow the Germans managed to hold on to that ball under all kinds of pressure. The loosehead will feel a bit better after that one. What's his name? What are you drinking? I've bought German beer, man. I've never heard of it. It was the only one they had at the supermarket, apart from some 6-pack, which I didn't want 6 of these beers. So, Dab. It's probably the rubbish the Germans don't want to drink, so they just ship it to New Zealand, I guess. I heard that's what happens with French wine. They ship all the bad stuff abroad. I don't know if that's true. The German loosehead is hopeless. Dab is good. Is it really? Is it really a good beer? I don't know, man. My first time trying it. I'm just drinking it. It's all right. Never heard of it. You need Kolsch. Is that a green one? Oh no, that's Grolsch. I don't even think that's German. Man, half time. This game has been flying. I'll see if I can find where the second half begins because this was streamed live. So, second half. Right, I'm going to skip to 1 hour and 7 minutes on the YouTube clock because that's when the game is about to get underway again. So I'm going to skip there now. 1 hour, 7 minutes. Team Olmsted is what's on the screen. Olmsted is what's on the screen. Oh, but I've just got to add actually. And we're back into it now. The breakdown is a bit of a dog's breakfast. They need to speed it up. Argentina versus USA in America's Championship are good games to watch as well. How far into the game are we on the YouTube clock? I am at 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 30 seconds. Canada are about to kick off. It's 10 points to 7 at halftime, and we're just starting the second half, which is very close, man. The Germans have done well to contain the Canadians because their scrum has been getting destroyed, and the Canadians have had the lion's share of possession and territory. But their defense and their work at the ruck, look at the breakdown in terms of getting turnovers, has been good. It's better than San Miguel. Okay. That's Cologne's most famous beer. All right. I'll have to have a look, man. We do get a limited selection of stuff here in New Zealand. Bloody ads. Hey, man. My videos have ads as well, so I'm not complaining too hard. If there's a YouTube channel I really like, I will sometimes watch the ads. Germans are struggling to keep DTH van der Merwe at bay. He's a class player, man. I think a lot of teams would struggle with that guy. He is one of their proper stars. That scrum didn't win a penalty for Canada, so that is kind of a win for Germany at this point. Game clock is 41 minutes and 30 seconds as I speak. Canada are like 8 meters away, so we'll see if they can score because surely all this possession and territory is going to pay at some point. If America played rugby as their top 5 sport, do you think they would be the best in the world? Well, they've got the population. They've got the finances in terms of getting facilities and whatnot. I think that'd be pretty good. I think their women's team's up there, right? Oh, try time. Try time, Canada. Who got that one? Ardron. Seriously. Man, it's the big name guys for Canada getting the tries. Big try for Ardron. Watching the ads because you know it's an extra few cents. Yeah, man. Like there are some channels, like I only support one channel on Patreon. So like I guess that's like a little thing you can do for them. But you're not supposed to encourage that kind of behavior. You're only supposed to really watch the ads if you really want to watch them. Good try. That's a really good start for the Canadians. They needed that, man. They must have been hurting after not being more than 3 points ahead after that first half. Can you select an America's 15 excluding Argentina? Bro, I would struggle. I would struggle big time. I know a few of the American guys. I know a few of the... Oh, man, this goal kicker, McGrory, he's doing really well. Like, I could pick a few of the American guys I know, a few of the Canadian guys I know. I don't know that I know. I mean, some of the guys from Uruguay, I think I remember well enough. But I'd be struggling to make a proper 15 other than those three countries. The only time I see them is at the World Cup. Need to watch more rugby, man. Population is no guarantee. Football in China is big, but they're not even a middling team. There are far more hockey players in the US than Finland, Sweden, Czech Republic, but they're still not better, despite having more money and a bigger talent pool. Yeah, it's definitely not everything. I know from China, most of the schools have a football field, but if it's watered, because I lived there, they don't let the kids on it unless it's the first 11 to play. And at least in all the schools I taught at in China, I hardly saw any kids playing football at lunchtime. It's always basketball. Always basketball. Ooh, penalty to Germany. Man, if they can score here, that'll be another bit of a stab at the Canadians, because it'll be hitting back straight away. I let the video play when I watch your videos. Is pretty much any other YouTubers that I follow. I watch it on my TV and I'm too lazy to press skip. Oh, well, you're the kind of viewer that helps us out, bro. The lazy kind. What can I say? Population is an advantage, but having proper domestic competition is the most important thing to turn your country into a world force in any sport. Yeah. There's a few factors, eh? It's not just money and people, but yeah. China next, Yao Ming. Man, I used to hate Yao Ming. Not for any reason, not for anything he did. Germany's kicked that penalty, so that really is, man, good value from all the position and territory they've had. They're doing well. Yeah, when I first moved to China, Yao Ming, what position does he play? Center? Is that a position in basketball? The tall guy. He was in his prime, and if you watched the basketball he's playing for the Houston Rockets, right? If you watched it with Chinese commentary, all you would hear from the Chinese commentators was Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming. Once I heard them mention his name for like 5 minutes before I realized he's not even playing. He's injured, because my Chinese was really bad at that point. I didn't know. I just heard his name. I don't know why they kept talking about him, but I guess we would be the same here in New Zealand. We've got one NBA player, and anytime his team gets a win in New Zealand, we report on it like, Steven Adams did this, Steven Adams did that. It's like, come on, man. There's other players in the team rather than just Steven Adams. Filipinos adore basketball, but natural advantages are always to be considered. Yeah, I got that feeling, actually. My boss is a Filipino lady, and she tells me her husband quite likes basketball. Bill Beaumont is chairman. Tier 1 nations only going to get stronger. Teams like USA, etc., are going to get weaker. Here go the Germans again. Big Bill talked a bit of a big game after being put under a bit of pressure. So let's hope not. But yeah, I think that's the assumption, eh? that this level team is going to get kind of neglected. I didn't realize watching ads helped you out. Looks like I'm going to be watching a lot more ads. I think, and I don't know, I probably should know, if you skip an ad before it plays for 30 seconds, then I don't think anything gets billed to the people paying for the ads, I think. Whereas if the ad plays for 30 seconds, that kind of counts as like a view of the ad. I'm just opening a second beer, by the way, guys. Steven Adams just set the picks for Russ or ran a pick and go. Yes. What's that guy's name? The really talented guy who played for the Thunder. What's his name? Russell Westbrook. Yeah, he's the star of the team, right? Like, he's a legit, like, star player. I mean, I know Adams he's all right. He's pretty good, but he's not, like, he's, like, being pretty good for a lock. Whereas Westbrook is, like, a first five. You know, the guy who gets the attention, the proper glamour. But if you're watching in New Zealand, you would think Russell Westbrook doesn't exist. He doesn't get mentioned. It's all Steven Adams, the New Zealand guy. So I guess that one-eyed media thing is not unique to any one country. We all do it. I guess I should turn off my ad blocker. Yeah? Maybe? It is what it is, man. I wouldn't blame people for using them. I've actually turned down the number that are showing on my ones, because YouTube tells you, by the way, the German scrum seems to be holding up a bit better now. But YouTube tells you to just place the ads automatically. Like when you load a YouTube video, you can choose, do you want to place ads manually or do you want to let it load automatically? And a couple of guys brought it to my attention that YouTube was playing a shitload of ads, like every kind of 2 minutes. Like even like that's a bit much. I've tried to space it out like at least every 4 minutes, you know. Every 2 minutes is too much. I'll admit that. But YouTube does tell you, bro, just leave it to us. We'll place the ads for you. Just push automatic in their like class. Just leave it. Just let us handle it for you. We'll find the optimal places to put the ads. In other words, we'll put as many bloody ads in as we can. Anyway, sorry to go on a rant. That's nuts. Adams is a good center, but he's 1 of 10. Yeah. Yeah, but you would think that he is the MVP of the whole bloody league to watch the New Zealand media. The only team they report on is the Thunder. I'm serious. David Tua is my favorite Kiwi human ever. I'd tackle John Lumu for him. Wow, for real. David Tua, the boxer. What did he do to impress you so much? Uh-oh. The Germans have just had another warning. The first one was for the loose head for scrum penalties. This time it's for just penalties generally. So they're on a team warning. I can't help but think, given it's 52 minutes and 10 seconds, that at some point there will be a German fellow in the bin. We'll see if I'm right. For once, I agree with Stuart Barnes. The obvious place to grow rugby is getting more English, Australians, Irish to play and follow the game. Instead, we have this obsession with USA, Canada. I think, man, like rugby union in the places it's not already an established kind of top 3 or 4 sport, it's probably not going to become a bigger sport than the ones that are existing in any of our lifetime. So in that regard, you're probably right. I do like the idea of the Americans having the MLR and getting that going and stuff. Like, as long as you can get guys, oh, man. Sure, this is try time. Oh, they've fluffed it. Absolutely fluffed it. Man, Canada's blown some chances in this game, I swear. What was I saying? If you can get guys playing the game professionally wherever, I think that is the best thing. Any team which plays pro level is going to be so much better than guys who are working a day job and just playing rugby in their free time. Anyway. How many wins do you think the winner of Super Rugby Aotearoa will have? Match clock, by the way, is at 53:54, and the YouTube clock's at 1:21:30. You can probably afford to drop a couple of games, but it could be really tight. I can't imagine the Crusaders dropping many games, though, honestly. They're just too good a team. The German lock Rupf plays for Wasps A side and is rumored with Stamford say. Is that right? The German lock. I'll have to keep an eye out for him. Oh, man, Canada. Oh, my goodness. Even the ref looks kind of frustrated that they butchered that one. They're about 6 meters away and just ball goes to ground. Oh. I think American football is much bigger in Germany than rugby. I think American football will win that battle in Germany. Certainly a lot more money in American football, mate. That's true. Germany have birthed their first AB in Anton Segner. Eh? Crusaders will go 8-0? Nah, man. Nah. No, I'm not having that. The Crusaders at least have to drop a couple of games, man. Come on. American football is big in Central Europe. Actually, there was a German exchange student at my high school, and he played American football. Jan, he was a pretty big fella. So, yeah, I believe it. Reckon the Canes and Chiefs could get a couple of the Crusaders. Can't see the Landers doing it. Yeah. Oh, the Germans have just won a scrum penalty. Was that Sears Zuru? No, it wasn't. It was 18. I played American football myself for 5 years. It's huge. And yet you are here watching rugby. You made the right choice, man. I don't think there's much American football over here. I know a lot of the All Blacks guys and whatnot follow it. Like they seem to play a bit of Madden and whatnot, but it's basketball. That's the big threat, I guess, over here to rugby. That's seen as a more likely place for guys to get scholarships and stuff over in America than American football. Because our basketball team is not great, but they're at least okay. We at least have one pro basketball team. We don't have anybody being paid to play American football over here. And I guess even if you can't make the NBA, you can still go play in Europe or you can go play in Australia. But how many places can you go to play American football and get paid for it? Not many, right? The only issue with the mighty Blues is whether Ioane brothers will be on form. That's a big question, man. Akira is always the one we worry about, but maybe Reeks as well. We'll have to see. NFL is so boring. I read the average game only has about 11 minutes of actual gameplay. Well, rugby is pretty bad for ball and play time as well. But I do remember once just flicking through the channels and seeing a game had like 3 minutes to go, and it must have taken half an hour. Timeout. Yeah, it took ages. 2-minute warning. Yeah. Canadians are gone 7 phases. Was it that loose hit that made that tackle for Germany? Canadians are looking dangerous. Will they stuff it up or will they convert this one? They're 4 meters out. Oh, they've turned them over. Man, those Germans, they are brutal. They keep denying the Canadians. Far out. I only played American football because there was no rugby available in town I was staying. I'm a big boy. Playing soccer won't work for me. Fair enough. What time are we at? We are at 59 minutes on the game clock, which on YouTube is about 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 30 seconds. I hope the All Blacks return to the same team they were back in 2015. I hope they are stronger when they return to the field. Super Rugby Aotearoa will potentially get these guys to lift, or maybe it'll be a bit too physical. They keep talking it up about how it's so much harder playing in the Derby game, so we'll see. Didn't Habana get an offer to play in the NFL? Might be right. I've read somewhere one of the guys from America on my Patreon sent me a message saying like John Olomu was talked about by the NFL. I know Jared Hayne tried out and managed to get like a squad place before quitting. Who's that guy from England who's over there? Didn't also get a starting team contract. Oh, I can't remember his name. Oh, Germany tried to do a bit of expensive stuff, but it's gone into touch. Lomu did as well. Yeah, there you go. Nas Bota played for the Dallas Cowboys. He's serious. Christian Wade, that's the one. Thank you, man. Thank you for that. Hayne played for the 49ers. I don't know that he got a game. I know he played a couple of preseason games. From memory, he got cut to like the squad rather than the starting lineup. But I could be mistaken. I know he didn't have a big run over there before he came back to league. Do you watch netball? I've been to a couple of netball games. I don't usually watch it on TV. To be honest, if I was going to watch netball, I would probably have to put a few dollars on it just to spice it up a bit. I'm not really big on the old netball. I mean, I don't dislike it, but it wouldn't be up there with sports that I would choose to watch. Hayne was cut, yeah. He had a couple of good preseason games, but I think he made too many errors. At least Germany plays exciting rugby. They're giving it a crack, man. I'm more impressed with the fact that their defense keeps managing to pull out these plays where Canada looks sure to score. And Germany turned them over, man. They've been brutal in that regard. You watch netball with the missus. She's a huge fan. I would watch the Silver Ferns against what's the Wallabies, the Aussie netball team called the Diamonds. Yeah, New Zealand Australia netball is brutal. And if you've been to a netball game, you know that stuff's not non-contact, man. They belt the shit out of each other. Excuse my language. Honestly, they are some tough girls. They don't get paid bugger all, which is a bit of a travesty. But again, not enough places play it. My boy played against the German under-18s when he toured Germany. He said they were huge. Is that right? I'm not surprised, man. I don't think anybody ever said about Germany that, like, oh, those guys are really small in stature. Oh, but they've just knocked it on. One of their kind of few chances on 62 minutes. And they've made a bit of a mess of that one. But at least they were putting some pressure on. Transitioning from rugby to NFL is a lot harder than union to league. Most of the American football is timing and tactics. Example, Marcus Hunt, 205 centimeters, and the Euro track star faster. Couldn't make it. Wow. Only guys that go to NFL without playing football as AFL guys. Wouldn't mind getting paid $1 million to kick footballs. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to it than people think, eh? The raw skill is definitely not enough to grow up with all the like the positioning and timing, like you say, that you need to be aware of. I mean, Sam Burgess, if you haven't heard him, he was on House of Rugby the other day, and he talked about, oh, they've passed it into touch again. Come on, Germany. You got to find that winger. This has been their best kind of 5 minutes for a while. Sam Burgess was on saying in his first game of rugby union since like school age that after making a tackle, he just went and like wanted to retreat like 10 meters like he's supposed to do in league. And the opposing like halfback just grabbed the ball and ran into the space that he left. So yeah, there's more to it than just the actual skills. It's your positioning, your tactical awareness, all that kind of stuff. You can't just pick that up in a day. Who's winning? Canada are 17-10 up over Germany after 64 minutes and 15 seconds. I've seen a whiteboard with more imagination than these Canadians. That is one criticism about the Canadian style of play, is that it's a bit lacking in depth. But the setup over there, I remember Squidge Rugby did a really detailed look at the Canadian rugby setup and said it was not ideal. He did quite a lot of research on it. Certainly more than I know. Oh, and they've lost the line out. Giving Germany another chance. I think rugby players are probably much more fitter than NFL players. Yeah, I think the NFL guys can definitely be a different body shape because they're expected to go hard, but only for a very short burst, whereas the rugby guys have got to do it for a lot longer. But then again, I think AFL guys run around probably a bit more than union guys, right? There's a lot more stoppages. $15 minutes to go. It's still close, man. It's still within 7 points. I can't really believe that. Any thoughts on Michael Lerner's suggestion that the rugby comps, both club and country, should be aligned by time zones? That's the first I've heard of it, man. I guess it kind of makes sense. The main thing that kind of sticks is that the North and South have different seasons, but I can see some value in it. At least you get to see the games, which is one of the problems we've got with Super Rugby. Netball is really on the rise in the UK as a spectacular sport. I think it will pick up where once COVID was under control, is well placed to go professional in England. Is it not professional now? I'm not sure what the status is in New Zealand. There's definitely teams, but I seem to remember their budget, like at least a few years ago when there was an Australian-New Zealand combined tournament, like the total team budget for one of the Aussie teams was like the same as one Aussie rules player. So it was still pretty minimum. Got to give it to the Germans for hanging in there. This is the kind of match it's one that they could sneak it if the Canadians throw an intercept pass. I know they're not going to do it, but still. Was that forward or just flat? This should be a try for Canada, surely. They're another meter out. And try time. 67 minutes and 51 seconds. The Canadians finally put it beyond 7. Max Evans. I don't remember him. Or Matt Evans. Who's winning Super Rugby Aotearoa? Surely the Blues, right? It has to be our year. How can it not be? We got Dan Carter. Now, was that pass flat or forward? Either way, looks like a try's been given. Nah. From that angle, it looks all right. From the main angle, from the halfway line, it kind of looked a bit forward. They are too unfit. Akira is the guy who always gets grief about his fitness. Oh, that kick's just gone wide. Way post prime Dan Carter. Come on, man. Let me dream. Let me dream. Dan Carter. January and February is horrible in Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. If their season can align with South Africa, they could come up with a season that's not too hot, not too cold. Yeah, that's the thing, which I think maybe people forget about sometimes, is that the seasons don't necessarily align that well. But yeah, if you can pick spring or autumn, it might not be as bad. Not watching the game, but curious as to what kind of level do you think the Germans and Canadians are playing at if they were put into club competition? It's really hard to say because at this level, the Canadians look pretty dominant. They've made a ton of errors in terms of being turned over at bad times, throwing the ball to like an isolated man and expecting him to make ground, knocking it on. So, but their scrum looks a lot better than the German one. So, yeah, it's been tough to say. I think these guys would probably struggle in Super Rugby. But then again, like these Canadian guys, a lot of them play professionally, so maybe between Mitre 10 and Super Rugby, I don't know. NRC or Mitre 10 level at most, really, with the odd Super Rugby or Pro 14 players. There you go. Pretty much the same, eh? I think they'd struggle at Super Rugby level apart from the odd elite guy. Oh, one of the Canadian guys looks out for the count. They may score a try anyway. They're about 4 meters out. He deserves a try. Their 10 has played pretty well. McCrory or whatever his name is. He's been solid. Scoreline's starting to blow out a bit now. They'd be murdered in Super Rugby, yeah. Remember, Super Rugby, though, is in itself a bit of a mixed bag. There's better teams than others. Is Tyler Ardron playing? He is playing. He scored a try as well. And that's the game. Yeah, I think over the course of the 80, the Canadians have probably been the better team. But the Germans have certainly showed some bite, man, especially on defense. England, New Zealand, and Australia are all pretty much equal at netball. South Africa and Jamaica not far behind. Any of those games are worth watching. Yeah. The games I've been to, I've never actually been to an international. I've only been to like domestic level netball over here. One thing I will say is, though, that the vibe is actually pretty good because you're indoors. It's like quite pumped up, and the girls, like most of the crowd is girls. Yeah, they get really into it, man. They give you these like blow up tubes that you beat together, and it's quite an atmosphere. So if nothing else, that's one thing that it's probably got above Super Rugby, man, a better atmosphere, which is a bit sad to say. Good kick, 29-10. Canada's looking pretty good value at the moment. Which Kiwi Super Rugby team can they compete with? Oh, man, no. Kiwi Super Rugby team might be pushing it. I was thinking Sunwolves, 2020 Waratahs, maybe I don't know, the Lions have struggled a bit. It's like Cheetahs v Kings in Pro 14. That's probably another good way to put it. You have the Satyrs, the rest of the New Zealand teams, bar the Landers, the Sharks, the Stormers, and the Brumbies. Then you have the remainder. Yeah, there's a lot of average-looking Super Rugby teams in 2020. Like I said, the Waratahs weren't looking the best. The Lions have lost far too many players. The Bulls, goodness knows how they're going to go, man. They keep chopping and changing players like nobody's business at the moment. It's Canada 29, Germany 10. It's almost 74 minutes on my one. I honestly, I saw the score before watching this game, and I thought the Germans were going to get a bit of a hiding. And they have struggled in some areas of the game, but they've still been pretty good value, honestly. They've only conceded a bunch of points in the last kind of few minutes. So I feel a bit sorry for them that it's now looking, it's looking a bit brutal. Namibia beat the Kings before the World Cup. Oh, is that right? That's pretty tough. Do you reckon Lachlan Boshier will make the All Blacks? I can't see him not making the All Blacks, man. He's a good player. He's so good. I mean, you guys know I love my stats. His stats are always just phenomenal. Turnovers, tackles, and he's good with ball in hand as well. So there's nothing not to like about him. You should watch college rugby. Interesting to watch the journey of rugby players. I remember watching Mackenzie college rugby. Now he's an All Black. I used to watch a little bit on Sky's kind of first 15 show, but yeah, admittedly not a lot. Under 5 minutes to go now. Boshier has to beat off Kane and Artie, unfortunately. That's true. But he is a bit versatile, so maybe he can make it there as a bench man to start with. If maybe Artie's at 8, Kane's at 7, you can put Boshier on the bench. What do you reckon? Boshier will get the 6 jersey. Possible. 6 jersey's been a bit of a problem for the All Blacks. We haven't had a consistent guy to fill that jersey for a while. Luke Jacobson is pretty good still. Yeah. We're pretty good for Lucy's. Varsity Cup in South Africa is pretty well supported. It's a big university tournament. Jacobson is good, but injury prone. Lawrence says ABs need a decent 6. Yeah. Since kind of maybe Jerome Kiner, we've had a lot of guys filling in, but nobody really permanently step up to the job. Considering Georgia, which regularly hosts both these teams, struggled against the Southern Kings, I think these teams are far below Pro 14 level. Again, Pro 14, though, is in itself a bit of a mixed bag. You've got some proper elite teams and some teams who are not that good. I remember the Hawaris gave a Georgian team a bit of a shellacking, but it wasn't the Georgian top team. I reckon Kane at 6, Savi at 7. No ideas at 8. I think they'll play Savi at 8, man. They seem to rate him there. Plus, if Kane's captain and his primary position is 7, surely he has to play 7. Surely. What's the pay difference between Super Rugby in NZ and the NRL? I'm not sure what the salary cap difference is. I would imagine it's on a par, but the top guys, I would imagine in Union maybe get paid more because they get topped up by their like All Blacks or Wallabies or whatever contracts. But I mean, I could be well off. I don't know. Again, I don't follow league enough. You're certainly more likely as an Australian, if you wanted to become a professional footy player, there's a lot more league teams than there are rugby teams. So Kiwi, I'm well, bro. There's only 2 minutes to go in this one. Italy aren't much good, but they bring so much money as regards to sponsoring and an away destination. They're there to stay in the Pro 14 Six Nations. That is a fact. None of the countries that people suggest to replace Italy can do anywhere near as much in terms of the finances. Italy are very good in that regard. Savia won't be playing 7 if Kane is captain. I kind of reckon the same. Interesting how cheaters based in Free State are not that good when you consider grade colleges in the Free State. Yeah, I don't know. Like in New Zealand, they used to do the catchment areas where like the Blues would have the first dibs on any players in their zone, but they've not done that for years. So I don't think they would do it in South Africa either. They just sign them for their academies. So even if you're from grade college, you could end up with anybody. Come on, guys, you can't play 3 sevens for the ABs, bro. Good try it. 1 minute to go. It's Canada 29, Germany 10. The ball's gone into touch. Nakarawa apparently signing for Glasgow permanently. That's good news. Good news for Glasgow for sure. They need a ball runner at 6. Savia and Kane are poachers. Don't need another one. Savia is kind of that blend, eh? He's not quite an out-and-out 6 or 7 or 8. He's a bit of a mix of everything, but yeah. I mean, you saw with the Australians when they played the Pooper, they did miss kind of a proper 8. They didn't really have much in terms of line-out options because Pocock, if you lifted him, imagine dropping him on those knees. And Hooper's pretty, I guess, lacking a bit of height. He wasn't the best at line-out time, so yeah, it left them a bit of a struggle. Pretty sure I saw a forward in the crowd here as Cauliflower Ace. I think that's Cudmore, Canadian hard man kind of legend. I think that's him. Jamie Cudmore, I think. That's him there. All right, that's game over. Well done, Canada. We'll see how you guys go at the World Cup in 2019. Maybe you can get a win over Namibia unless it's cancelled. Well, that was certainly different. I'm pretty pleased we went with that one for a change because I had no idea how that game was going to go. I thought Germany got a bit of a hiding, but they actually did pretty well and were just kind of – I know they were dominated for periods, but they put up a better showing than I thought was going to happen. So, yeah, bit of a fun one. Cheers for that, guys. Hopefully, next week we should be able to get a stream going for some live rugby, which will be most welcome. And then also maybe something with G-Man as well. See if we can get some kind of collaboration stream going on. So, yep, you guys take care. And I will see you guys all again for the next one. All right, guys. Take it easy. See you.